Now this one's probably not going to get out before the 11 a.m. Deadline that I used to set for myself. Unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is. Now, I won't be doing Rune of the Week today. I also won't be doing the Havamal series today. I'll be doing those tomorrow. Here's why. I do actually have personal readings that I'm doing right now, and so I've had to kind of set time aside and prioritize a bit. So normally you would get all of these in one day. That's just not going to be the case. It's just not technically feasible, plus I'm on vacation, and as many of you might know, I was recently ordained probably about a couple weeks ago with Universal Life Church, where I also hold a doctorate in divinity. So, I don't know if that's a Reverend Raven PhD or Reverend Dr. Raven. I don't know. Got the certificates up on my wall and ready to kick this whole thing off. If you would like to see me perform stuff like the Havamal or Vafthrufnismal, which I do have planned, that is in the works for a longer video series, longer form, later on down the road. Let me know in the comments below, what else would you like to see on this channel? We've got tarot, oracles, runes, we've got gaming. On my Saturday chill streams, we talk comics and movies. We talk about a lot of things. We're not trying to be everything to everyone. This is really what it's all going to be about, because this is where it started. However, if you would like to see some stuff, comment in the links down below. Also, if you would like readings, Linktree is in the description down below. You throw me something off the Amazon wish list, and guess what? I do readings for you. That'll be 5 readings and a birthday reading for anything 35 and under, and 7 readings and a birthday reading for anything over that. So, get in touch. And if that's not something you want to do and you just want to enjoy these free readings, go right ahead. And I really want to give a special shout out. If you go to the page, if you go to my YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, CloudHub, whatever platform you're currently watching me on, if you go to the page and you have a look and you see the new banner, you see the new avatar, you see the new video intro, those are all done by a very wonderful lady on Twitter named @KateGFX. I would highly suggest checking her out. Her prices are super reasonable. She is very flexible on payment and does absolutely phenomenal work. Most everything she did, she nailed on the very first try and exceeded my expectations. Not met them, exceeded them. I gave her, just a few things here, just, maybe this element, that element, yeah, that'd be cool. And then I just let her run with it. I just trusted her with it, and she did absolutely spectacularly. I have absolutely no complaints, and I would like to personally thank her for all the work she's done. Hopefully we'll get her on the Saturday live stream at some point and showcase her work. So, we're going to do a nice little full reading on this Tuesday. Very traditional, just like we used to do all the time. But we are going to do it in full this time. And I do have the Viking Oracle. I also have the Spirit Animal Oracle, because that's how we lead out just about every single reading. I also decided that today would be a good day for a bold dose of the truth, so we are not pulling any punches today. It is all going to be solid fact. There's been a lot of really, really intense personal messaging coming up, and I really want you to listen this time. Now, of course, what I want and what I'll get are two completely different things, aren't they? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you find your own way, sometimes you find your own meaning, and if that is the case, know one thing. As long as it brings you in a good direction, I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. Alright? So, here we go. By the way, while I'm laying out the cards, and we also have the Sacred Rebels Oracle, which we're talking about being real, right? Authentic. While I'm being real and authentic, I want to direct your attention for just a moment to that of Ernie Gary Gygax Jr., who is now back in the hospital. He's in a very, very bad way right now. And also, my grandmother on my mom's side. If you would do me a favor, whether it's thoughts and prayers, good juju, or whatever good vibes you can send, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, okay? You guys have done some amazing work in the past, and I don't see that diminishing now. And I thank you for everything that you do, whether it's liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, or even getting yourself and or others personal readings. I thank all of you. I lift my cup of Irish breakfast tea to you for all the thoughts and prayers that you have sent, for all the good vibes you have sent over, the candles you've lit. I thank you. I don't get to do that enough, but I still thank you. Alright, now, let's get into this, shall we? Alright, I'm going to take the rune bag away here for just a moment. Yep, we'll be drawing from those again. Let us have a look at who we are. How do we stack up? I was just discussing Yggdrasil last night with some friends. Do you know that this is the tree upon all which all the 9 worlds hang? Even ours. This means you are part of something much bigger than yourself, and it's time to start serving it. Because that something bigger gives us purpose. And before I get any deeper into that, let's take it in context, shall we? We have Valkyries. And this is you winning any battle that you currently face. Now, right now, battles are being fought everywhere. Whether it's your battle with weight loss, your battle with living a little more mindfully, it does not matter. Every bit of that is going towards something much larger than you. It's all giving you purpose. And right now, if you're feeling, and I know there are people who are right now, as we enter into autumn and we're about to go into those months, people are seeing all the green and the color just start to kind of fade away into that rust color, and pretty soon it will be gone with the winter, and then we'll be experiencing the cold, we'll be experiencing bare trees, you know, some flowers that don't bear fruit, and we do start to kind of descend into that hopeless feeling, that feeling of we don't know what our purpose is. There's got to be something more to just living and working and paying bills, and there is. But you have to find yours, and it's out there, and it's ready for you to. So what do we look to in nature for the week? Crow spirit. So now, remember what I've said before. Here's the thing, we've actually had discussions in the tribe about crows. Crows, ravens, the Corvus family itself. Do you know what's special about them? Is that they're very intelligent. They have generational memory. Let me put it to you this way, if you chuck a rock at a crow, that crow is going to remember your face, they're going to hold that grudge, they're going to come after you with everything they have, and so will their family. You can get away from the initial crow, but that initial crow will, they're like the Hatfields and you'll be like the McCoys. Let me tell you, that whole family will come after you. It's this very weird phenomenon. But if you treat them well, they tend to remember that as well. And there are rewards. Sometimes these crows will pick something shiny and bring it to you as a gift. Ravens will do it too. Ravens are more likely to do it. Do you know why? Because crows are not necessarily friendly to humans. They don't really land on your shoulder. I know you've seen that movie The Crow with Brandon Lee, and how there's always a crow on his shoulder. Actually, that was a raven. and they had to film those scenes during the daytime. They had to have a lot of artificial lighting to keep the raven awake, and the raven's name was Magic, believe it or not. Now, let's get into the mind, because your thoughts can easily become your words, and they can easily become your actions. We've got an Ace of Pentacles in reverse. We have a King of Pentacles, and we also have a Seven of Wands. Now, let's get into this Ace of Pentacles in reverse. This is, right now, you really don't see the opportunities in front of you. This is where you start to lose focus. Losing that focus on things that are very real. You're starting to become a little immature. You're kind of delving back into a little childish fantasy here in terms of the world around you. That is not something that you need, or you have been doing it. Let me correct that. You have been doing that. What you're being called to do now is take charge. Take some serious responsibility. Look at what you have and learn how to maximize it again. Become king of your own mind and get real with yourself. Because guess what? Right here, you got 6 other ones kind of like leaning back in awe at that one. That one that's burning. That one that's burning is providing light to the rest. This is where learning from your mistakes can be a very powerful thing. When you're learning, when you're spending your time learning, when you're spending your time developing your mind, developing your skills, developing your mentality, your knowledge base, you don't have time for any of the other stuff. The other shit is just that, is shit. And it's not going to get you anywhere, and you can actually realize that. But if you're spending your time in your own head, in your own perceptions for a moment, guess what? That's going to hurt you. Let's go into the very real and tangible. We do have a Hermit in reverse. We've got the Tower in reverse. And we've got the Empress in reverse. A lot of reversals today, ladies and gentlemen. So starting here, this is telling you it's time to come out of your shell. Okay, you've spent enough time in deep, deep thought and meditation, and possibly even meditating on the wrong things. It's time to come out of that. Climb down off your cross there, martyrs. Some of us need to, right? We got a Tower in reverse. This is that catastrophic event that takes you back down to your base. In this case, you are building. And if you're going to build, it needs to be something very, very strong. If you're not going to build, what good is it? And this is all about nurturing what is around you, helping it to grow. But why aren't you doing that? Do you see what I'm saying here is, why are we living in our own heads when it's obviously not helping us? Why are we sitting there fantasizing constantly? You can't constantly fantasize and not come back to reality. It's one thing to go play the game. It's one thing to go, do something in recreation. Let me tell you something. I've been trying to learn this game. The whole bag itself is a board, and all the pieces are contained right here inside. It's called Nefertafel, King's Table. I really didn't spend a lot of time with this game, but I love it. Let me put it to you this way. Right now, our indulgences, we're overindulging a bit. Goodness knows I know. And I've had to catch myself and take myself out of those indulgences. One of the things that I personally indulge, sometimes it's drama. Sometimes I love getting into it and mixing it up. But then I realize I've just wasted a day and I got nothing done. You ever feel like that? Yeah. And sometimes you realize, I'm not doing what I claim to love. I'm doing what I claim to hate, and I'm becoming everything I hate. When you start to realize that, when you start to realize that that becomes a problem, it's time for us to kind of back out, right? like I said, it's time for us to back out, me included, you included, everyone, because it's not helping. What are you about? Are you about what you love, your passions, your drives, your desires, your goals? Because that is part of something much larger than you that gives you purpose. The self-destruction and overindulgence robs you of your purpose. You know, just as an aside, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I think porn can be a healthy thing if used correctly. If used in moderation, just about anything can be good for you in some way. But if you're constantly looking at it, it's going to make you more depressed. And it's not going to help you perform. Keep doing it, you'll overstimulate. And after a while, you know, it's just not the same, is it? No, I will never say ban it. But I will say this. It's a lot like drinking or doing something that you just love. It just makes you feel great. Take a break from it for like a day or two. And go back to it. See how it works out. If you're like me and you get to game very rarely and occasionally with others, guess what? That can be an exciting thing to look forward to, right? But if I were constantly doing it, I don't think I'd look forward to it as much. Okay, let's get back to it. Spiritually speaking, we have a 10 of Wands in reverse. Got a 6 of Cups. And we got a 3 of Wands sitting there. A lot of Wands and fire energy going on. Right? Kind of interesting how the whole of the physical was court cards. This is your relationship to the world around you. When I said you were part of something much bigger, that's not a joke. But starting with this 10 of Wands in reverse, this is not that completion. This is not that unity that you're looking for. So what is it? What's that current course of action? The 6 of Cups. Know your roots. Be able to draw from them, but also be ready to give back. You cannot forget those that have pushed you through the dirt and help you spread your limbs. You can't do it. They will bail on you if you do. Hey, listen, people are a little like dogs. You find someone that's loyal, scratch his belly occasionally. Know what I'm saying? Okay. And then we have, actually, it's a 6 of Wands here. That 6 of Wands, letting us know that it is time to spread our wings and fly. Remember, spreading your limbs, spreading your wings. Get those arms out there. Try practicing it. Just like stand there and just kind of, breathe in. Keep your arms out and your back straight. Stand there and just, you know what? Put your back against the wall and just stand there and breathe in through the nose for about 4 or 5 seconds. Breathe out through the mouth for about 4 or 5 seconds. Just keep doing that process and then move your arms slightly up and down. I guarantee you, it sounds dumb as hell, but it works. This is where we're doing a spiritual practice here. And the spiritual practice takes place in the real world. The mental takes place in the real world. Both of these things have to be made manifest in order for that to work. And that's up to us to bring it there. Now, let's have a look at the oracles here. We have collaborative dreaming. Collaborative dreaming. Right? There are those who have the same dreams, goals, and aspirations as you. This is the type that you have to look at. These are the associative lines that we have to now draw. Do these people share my dream? And if so, are they doing what I'm doing? Are you following their example, they following yours. How are we providing those examples to others to get this kind of an outcome? How are we doing that? And we can spin these cards around. The ones that we choose, we really can spin these cards around. These are acting as a warning that we're not manifesting those things. And the She Feels and She Knows card. Man, we've addressed that one before. There are times where that's not an easy card for most of us. And the thing is, we have that vision that's bringing what was once obscured into perfect clarity. But this is not likely to happen as a blinding, shocking insight. It's more of a softer, gentler knowing. It's like knowing something without exactly understanding it or how you came to know it. Now, this insight will assist you, and you're asked to honor it. So, this is your intuition. And what this does is it tells you, it's that small, still voice in your head. It's that nagging sensation that you get when it's like, you know what, this is a little too much. Listen to it. Or it says, you're not doing enough here. Listen to it. This is not the voice of someone else. But this is coming to you with guidance, particularly about long range or long-term developments or even long-term goals. This is telling you, think of the long run. Think of that bigger picture. That's the key to winning this fight. This is how you co-create. Creation is the one godlike power you have that you can exercise on a daily basis. Now, spiritually speaking, just where are those messages coming from? They're coming from that divine inner source, that much I can tell you. And as with anything, we're going to have to start listening a little more to it, aren't we? We're not always going to get it right. Oh man, let me get a quick drink of tea, just real quick, because wow, my throat is dry. There we go, better. Okay, so this is the help that we're going to be asking for. We're going to get it. It's the response to the request. All requests for help are answered. That spiritual gift, it can also be given without us asking for anything at all. At least not consciously. Sometimes, like right there inside, we are crying out for help. And we're busy getting on with our to-do list. And we often don't stop to think about what we might need. And if we do, an immediate solution is just never obvious, right? We just kind of get on with life sometimes, either letting the issue be or taking the more painful option of dwelling on it without seeing how it might be resolved. You see what I'm saying here? Here's the thing. Sometimes that spiritual gift is just symbolic. And sometimes all we need is a symbol. Let's grab 3 and see what they say. But even though it may not be what exactly we want to see or we want to know, it will be what we need. And sometimes we don't get what we deserve, we get what we need right now. That's the question that you have to ask yourself. Sometimes we love to ask, oh man, what did I do to deserve this? We never stop to really ask, hey, what am I not seeing? What is it I need right now from this? Starting with the way you think could be a huge flag of victory in Wunyo. Because the winning has to start in the mind. If you're not thinking positively, guess what? You will positively lose. You'll dwell in your negativity. And so how do we stop dwelling in our negativity? How do we start winning in life? Well, Sawolo came up as revitalizing spiritual energy. So we're pointing from the physical to the spiritual. Right? We have to get that mind and spirit in order because we can't just keep going two ways. And finally, in the spiritual, we have to exhibit some type of strength. This is how we begin to move forward, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we start doing things in a way that's proper. Do you want to be seen as that example, that shining beacon? Then you better start thinking how you're thinking. We better start thinking about how we're going to do that. We work together. We start consulting with people who've been there and have done that. We are not so quick to write them off. We start to get a little more into our spiritual lives, whatever that may be. Our little rituals tend to be very spiritual. Hey, have you ever noticed that when you don't have your morning cup of coffee or tea, you just don't feel right? You're chugging energy drinks and everything else out of desperation. And guess what? You might have that energy for a little while, but it's it's not the same, is it? Do you see how our rituals can break us at times? As much as they build us, you're going to have to give yourself that space to exercise that process. And understand it is a process. And it has its own outcomes. And those outcomes may not always be what we want. And finally, Urus. We need to start being strong enough to understand that the process sometimes is not very pleasant. Let me ask you something. When a piece of metal is being thrown into a fire and is pulled out red to white hot and is beaten and pounded and beaten and pounded and shaped and molded and melted and done all that, when that is happening, do you think that if that piece of metal were alive, do you think it would enjoy that? I actually saw some footage on YouTube of a wood-splitting sword, and I was like, I would love to have one of those. I would offer services all kinds of ways. Oh, you need firewood for your place? You got some logs? I'll split them. I'll get them split and stacked for you. It's all good. And I'd whip out that sword and start breaking wood. No kidding. I would process wood. So we're getting a lot with this reading, which is good news. Bad news is we've been dwelling in the past and we've been letting it take us over. We've been just letting it run roughshod over us. We haven't learned a damn thing from it. But we can. And we can move forward. Because if you're not growing, you're regressing. That's not us. That's not you. This was a rather uncomfortable truth to be put in front of us. But these two decks, they pulled absolutely no punches. They hit us with exactly what we needed to hear right now. And so this week I hope you run with that. I know I'll be. I'm going to be taking some much needed rest this week. Because quite honestly, I have earned every bit of it. It's what I need right now. I know that for sure. However, for those of you who who have gotten readings and everything. If you need one, just go ahead and let me know. It's all good. I'll go ahead and set that up for you. But just remember, if nothing else, one of the things that the oracle cards here have told you about your authenticity is to know that you're loved. That's why I always end these with I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up. And as always, shine on.